Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Bruco Lorry and the podcasts. I'm now joined with Tom Reece, who raced last year with a few teams, actually. Who were you racing with last year?
Last year, I think they called it a nomad season, I think. I got that off Tom. I rode for Happy Little Accidents at the start of the season. Actually, it was just drag initially for one run a heat here at Thame, and then jumped in with Happy Little Accidents. And then for the rest of the year, it was mixed between Earned It, and we were really doing well that season as a team, and then a little bit of Hold Your Horses and a little bit of Send It. So it was mixed in between.
Wow,
so
it really did get around.
A few teams.
So what's your sort of background in terms of where? Yeah, tell me about your background first, and how did you hear about horseboarding, get into it, and all that sort of thing?
So, I think just generally being on the mountain board, I think it's my 26th year now. So I started mountain boarding at 8 years old, at Court Farm Leisure. Literally,
where was that?
In Hereford.
Okay,
just outside of Hereford, and it literally a centre about half a mile away from my house. So my mum and my dad were quite happy. They knocked the Sunday club on the head of church, and I was literally down the mountain board centre all day, every day.
Wow.
So Saturday, Sunday for a good 15 years then.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I learnt my skills. That's where I learned to do what I do with mountain boarding, and I was lucky enough to be run around the country by my dad.
It's an important part to it, isn't it, really, when you're developing the sport, that you got your support of your parents in that?
Completely. You know, they were amazing for me. Like, you know, I learned a lot of UK championships from them, and I hate to think what it cost them throughout the years, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I was lucky enough to do that. Got on the Tramper team quite young, actually, about 10 years old.
Right.
Ted's been supporting me for a long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so come away with a few trophies, and then sort of there's some handboarding's dying down. Like, so we've got one event a year now. I just wanted to fill my summer days with a few more things to do, and I knew Hayden, Hamish, and Ryan through mountain boarding, and they kind of said, "Oh, let's try the horseboarding." And it was only really my sister turned up with a rope and the harness one day. She bought it and was like, "Let's go, I've got a horse for it." And had to go, and just was fixated on it ever since.
Because I think the first time you came with your sister. Was that, did you come visit a show?
That was at Bowood. We visited a show, and that was just, oh God, I had to get involved. To be honest, 12 months later, we were back. I remember the first phone call we had, and it was like, "Dan, I'm coming along, let's do it." And here we are. And
did last year sort of live up to the expectation, and how did that compare to like the mountain boarding scene of old and of recent?
Completely. I think every weekend is still as manic. You know, it's with the mountain boarding you have 3 different disciplines to do over the weekend. So you do a board across, a downhill, and a freestyle event. I was always very much a board across rider, downhill, fastest against the clock. So when I tried the horseboarding, and it's a weekend of fastest against the clock, fastest man wins, that really suits me down to a T, because all I want to do is be the fastest man behind a horse.
I mean, we did see last year you got on Hold Your Horses when Ash got injured at Bowood. And and I noticed actually when I was making the best crash video that your crashes tend to be very slidey. You tend to like just be, and particularly that one, you were just on your back sliding across the arena for quite a way. And I think you did 29 on that run. What was that sort of like?
I think it was the quickest I've been all season, but I think as Aidan and yourself said in the commentary, I think my board wasn't really set up for it. It was a bit of a run we should have maybe thought twice about, but we did it anyway. And it's some of my best footage of the year. But I think with the sliding out and stuff, I think coming from the mountain boarding, you sort of learn the self-preservation of those speeds. You learn to fall off, and that's just confidence, and then just time on board. So it's just being behind the board, being behind the horse,
Yeah.
or travelling down a hill over and over and over again, and you learn to sort of limit yourself.
It was one of those things that was because Ryan had gone out first, I think, and in the commentary box, obviously we'd had a bit of a dramatic day and or dramatic weekend, and when Ryan came out, I was a bit like, oh no, because this is a bit like HC runs, fun runs as we used to call them, and they always we stopped doing them because they ended up with so many injuries. People like got really broken from them, and Ryan came down. I remember seeing Ryan come down, and he got in a turn, and I was like, oh, okay, he's cool. He knows exactly what he's doing. And then you came down. I was like, oh, my heart was in my mouth. Like, this is going to go bad. But then you could see, although your board wasn't set up, you could see that you were compensating for it, and you were controlling. You were learning on the job.
Well, I definitely have fun. And that's the main thing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
So,
but it was, but you could see your experience coming out of there because the board was acting in ways that you weren't expecting it to, but you were compensating for that, and you could see the depth of your experience in those moments, which when you did eventually lose it, it was a controlled loss. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, and you put the board down, put yourself down on the floor, and just slid out to the outside. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful crash. So, moving into this year, you're picked to race with Send It siblings.
Yes.
But they're not racing
at the moment. Not this season. Obviously, Fernanda has other commitments with the show jumping. So I think we're doing 3-4 events this year.
Yeah.
Obviously not as siblings.
Yeah.
Just as a Send It team.
Oh, okay.
And obviously I'm still with Earned It and Sahara.
Yeah. Because like Sahara and Ernie, they developed so well last year, and they were particularly like I've been editing the Sandringham event, and the intermediate class was actually far better than the advanced class because a lot of the advanced teams were bringing in new horses or getting their feel back. Like Hold Your Horses was. I can't remember what the other teams were, but it was all kind of like, look, we're doing our own thing, we're not getting into a fight. But in the intermediate category, you were in a full-blown fight. Were you fighting with yourself as well?
A couple of times.
Yeah.
A couple of times. No, Need for Speed, there was another team.
Team.
But yeah, we were building so well.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a really good team there, and he's starting to run by the end of the season really well. And just to see sort of the progression of the team throughout the year, just sort of, I think we were at Sandringham was the first time we rode together, and it was a bit jumpy. But by the end of the weekend, we'd sort of built it into a solid run. And he just got better and better throughout the season, especially with some of these. He seems to do really well on these sort of really sunny, awful dry weather we were having. He seemed to really come alive in some of it. And then by Sandringham, before the wet event, I don't think he ever run a wet event ever as an ex-dressage pony. Made off a few times. The heat 3 before that, we were pushing Need for Speed right to the end, and he was galloping like a proper horseboarder.
The intermediate class was brilliant. It was really good. That footage, I had to stop editing it because the reason it's not gone up with the other footage that has gone up is there was a slight mistake in post-production with the scores, and unfortunately the racing was so good that when I spotted the mistake in the scores, I was like, I really want to put this up, but it's not going to quite make sense. So I sent it back to Joe, who does the first round of post-production editing. And I was like, I just can't put this up because it's not going to make sense to the races. But it's the best, it's certainly the best intermediate heat of the season. And it was a really good heat. That second rotation particularly was a melee of racing that
it was brilliant.
I take my hat off.
We're so ready for the advance this year, though. You know, I spoke to Sahara, and we've talked about how Ernie was running sort of towards the end of last season. I've just kind of gone, come on.
She was ready for advance then.
We are going to push the advance this season. I think we are exactly where we need to be.
And the times as well. When you looked at and I mentioned in the commentary, the split times were the same as the advanced. The speeds were the same with the advanced. It was like, unfortunately, you kind of got this intermediate category that wanted to finish the season in the intermediate category for the intermediate championship, but teams that really were like. I remember I had a conversation with both of them. Like, I really want you to go into the advanced because that's the level that you're racing at. And for me, all I'm trying to do is create relevant races. And as it happened, within that intermediate class, it was great. It was relevant, and it did get definitely relevant. Yeah. So going into this year, so you mentioned before you came in, we just had a quick chat, and you were saying that you got a couple. What are your thoughts for the championship this year?
There's a few changes this year, isn't there? There's a few curveballs and everything. I think the biggest thing for us and the champions especially is just wing it. Maybe dropping Tom out, who's very, very experienced boarder, and dropping him in for Reece, who's been about. He knows his stuff. He's got a lot to prove. I'm sure Annette is probably pushing for the back-to-back, to be honest. It hasn't been done.
Yeah, it's been done. It's been done. Dead Pigeons did it. Dead Pigeons did it about 8 times on the road.
And Annette's not giving away that trophy lightly, so Reece is going to be under some pressure. You got Section 8-9. They're well oiled now, well greased. Annalita's looking fantastic this year. Oren is as confident as ever on his board. I feel like he's been doing loads and loads of training, especially with Reece. They've been together, they've been on the e-boards together, and I feel like there's such a good crossover. And George, we know George can ride, so that's a good one. They've also got their other horse, King Gambit, that's been an outside bet at the moment. I think he's very, very good.
I don't know. I kind of feel like it's not going to be in the advance that long.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they're going to a couple of events, and then they'll be up.
But then we've got sort of Amy's back with Indy, of course.
Yeah.
Indy's always such a great horse, and she runs really, really well, and always pushing up there, second, third places.
And Amy with Tom now boarding with Team Top and Tails, that's a very strong team. They've got 3 championship wins between them. So in the field, they are the most credited team out there, and also Amy has an international championship.
For the last bit of last season, we had TNT really pushing it. Harry and just went
and Limited, which kind of
Limited kind of come in, but of course they're a bit inconsistent. Maybe they're not here this weekend. That's a big blow for that team. And as far as points go throughout the season, that might just cut it at the end.
Well, it could make a big difference. I mean, it's 40 points, and it's not that long a season, unfortunately. And there's not that many teams in that can. You're only talking 4 or 5 teams. So 10 points. You're talking and also the new bonus point rule, so the new bonus point rule is you get a bonus point in every rotation, and you keep each bonus point. So if you score max perfect points, you get 13 points. But also if you only win it on the 3rd rotation and another team's been faster in the first 2, you both come out with 11 points.
It adds up then, doesn't it? It starts to add up throughout the season.
Well, you could end up with some quite seriously close races. That's what we're trying to work out. And also as well, though, within that you have the inconsistency of some teams have fallen out or not completing races. You get an opportunity for a team that's a bit further down the class to go, all I need to do is finish, and I've got a bonus point, and that's pushed them up a position over the weekend. So I'm quite excited for that. It kind of makes it a bit more simpler. That's been the biggest thing for us, because the bonus points rules have been great in the past, but the last 2 years have been difficult to explain on the commentary, if I'm honest.
I've got to get myself in there though as well. I think me and Sendek got a chance. I think the events, Fan's been very good at picking the events that she knows Twiggy's good for. Especially so. I think we'll be up there as well. Well, I think we'll be pushing.
Okay, and that bonus point will give you an extra chance then, won't it? Because you're. I mean, Twiggy will do well, but she maxes out at 26. And I think that's but she's extremely consistent, and also Finale's got 2 advanced championships under her belt.
I think it's consistency throughout a whole weekend that's going to make it this year, especially with the bonus point change rule. I think it's consistency throughout a season as well. Like, you know what I mean? You might get second, third here, and I think the time's going to be so tight, especially tomorrow at Thame. Such a course since the last time I was here last year. The course seems a lot smaller. I remember it being huge last year, but no, it's a lot smaller. I think
is that just experience of seeing some of the other courses?
Yeah, completely. But we've got a good weekend ahead, I feel.
Yeah,
and, it's going to be exciting, and there's definitely some curveballs to be had.
Yeah, and I think where it comes to the way that the teams are balancing up, you've got, like you say, Just Wing It with Reece. Reece, spoke to him just literally a few minutes ago. He's like, mate, I'm ready. Like, and Reece was an amazing board rider. You know, when he had the teams to race behind, and he was absolutely one of the top board riders.
Yeah,
no messing. He had that break 6 years, but he's been warmed back up into it. So and I asked him, are you concerned about the pressure now? You're not messing now. This is full on. Let's go for it. And you've got a bunch of other teams waiting for you to make a mistake. Not bothered. He's confident.
Yeah,
he's confident.
I think I said exactly the same thing last year when he was behind Sue. He had a couple of teams with Sue, and they really, really took it steady. I think Sue had the fall, which kind of slowed the team up, sort of mid-season.
And the horse does get a bit stiff in the run.
Reece has been so steady, and I haven't seen him fall off yet either.
No. So he hasn't been tested yet.
No, he hasn't been tested. But having a clean season, how many races do you run throughout a whole season?
Yeah.
In the hundreds, and to not fall off.
His horse rider literally fell off more times than he did.
I think that's the thing. That's it. And so that's got to count for something. I think he'd be right back up there. He will love it.
And Tom did say to me, he went. Reece came to one of the training days that they had at the Newmarket Horseboarding Club, and his words were, "Give him a couple of heats, and he'll be firing on all cylinders."
Well, I did hear down the grapevine that they might have been doing a couple of secret sessions.
Yes, well, I've heard that as well.
I've heard a few bits and bobs that maybe some what do you call it? Nefarious sort of string and handle setups.
Oh, really?
But they've got on well. But I don't think they've quite turned the speed on with Harry yet. I think he does try and pull your arm out your socket sometimes. So we'll see.
And we'll just see. And
Reece Wagland had last year a completion rate of 83.3%.
That's for his team, no? Is that for his team, or is
that's
that
got to be the highest
for his team? Didn't say that.
For his team. So that but that his team fell. His horse rider fell, and so it was high. It's high up there. So, but we'll see what that comes up against when you talk about the experience of Top and Tails, although they are slightly underpowered in comparison to Just Wing It. And they're going to only run, really, they've only got 2 fast runs in them, although Indy is fit at the moment, but we don't know how Dusk is going to develop. She developed really well in Sandringham. And then, of course, like I say, Section 89, if they can, their consistency was not 100% last year, because they just they couldn't get the weave right, or they couldn't get this right. There's always something that was, they do a blistering run and then something would trip them up. Okay, so that's the word from Tom Reece. Let's see what else, and hopefully Tom's going to be working with us on the production team this weekend, so you can give him a round of applause for that. And we will see you soon with more backstory interviews and what's going on as we ready ourselves for day 1 of the 2026 National Horseboarding Championships.